What's up, everybody? This is Danny Thompson from AroundTheAssociation.com, and this is the Around the Association, the podcast. This is the NBA Power Edition, and so it's been a little minute since we did a little podcast, so we want to step in here and talk about the power rankings that you're seeing on the website right now. And the real question is, why do I have the teams ranked where they are? So if you look at the power ranking on the top of the charts, it's really been simple. I mean, the Toronto Raptors have been playing the best basketball in the entire league. They've won 5 straight games, 7 of the last 10. They're leading the Eastern Conference by almost 2.5 games right now. And they have seamlessly transitioned Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green to pretty much the best team in the NBA right now. Now they have a test on Thursday night as they take on the Golden State Warriors, a team that's also in my top 3, a team that's also been playing, better basketball of late. They won their last 3, and they're potentially getting Steph Curry back on Thursday night for a national TV game. And so that's 1 and 3 right there. The Warriors, they've only been 5-5 since Steph Curry's been out, so I couldn't put them ahead of the Clippers, who've been playing surprisingly the best basketball in the Western Conference. They're 13-6, but more importantly, they're 8-1 at home. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. They have been playing phenomenal under the radar basketball. Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams off the bench has been really, really good. Tobias Harris is playing like an all-star. Danilo Gallinari is healthy. They're getting very good contributions out of guys like, Pat Beverly and Avery Bradley. Shea Alexander has been really, really, really solid as a rookie. One of the rookies that have been under the radar to start the season. So that's the reason why the Clippers are at 2. Like I said, I mentioned the Warriors at 3. I had the Bucks at number 3 until last night. They fell to the Charlotte Hornets. Nothing against the Hornets, but the simple fact that the Bucks are supposed to win games like this. You give Charlotte a lot of credit. That's why they moved up since my original ranking I did last night. The previous night, up until where they are at 18. The Thunder, they got off to a 0-4 start, but they've been playing really, really good since then. Russell Westbrook and Paul George have seamlessly transitioned this team. And Dennis Schroeder has been, like I said, another one of those guys has been under the radar and now is in the starting lineup until, we get Robertson back who has a setback, won't be out probably until the first of the year. But the Thunder have been playing really, really good basketball, on top of the fact that Dennis Schroeder is now getting in. I think he had 34 against the Warriors the other night, and definitely his best game of the season. Nuggets have been solid all year. They've beaten the Warriors. They've beaten top up echelon teams. They beat Orlando the other night, and Denver is one of those teams. They're starting to wake up Jamal Murray after having been benched for the last couple games. Nikola Jokic is still an all-star. I think he should be on the all-star team this year. The one guy in the league that doesn't have to score 20 points to make a humongous impact. I think he's had 2 games this year where he could have had a triple-double but didn't get it in points. And that just tell you the impact he has on both ends, when it comes to the offensive end. One of the best high post passers, if not the best one in the entire league. Philadelphia's at 7. Ben Simmons and company have been playing, up and down basketball. They've had games where they've been really, really good, but there are games that they've should not have lost, like Cleveland on Friday night. But Jimmy Butler, 2 game winners since he's been there from the exact same spot, looks like, against Charlotte and Brooklyn on Sunday. The Sixers are a dangerous team once they get things together. But one thing Philadelphia does need, they need another defender, because outside of Butler, there's really not too many guys in this team who can defend very, very well other than Embiid in the paint. Memphis is at 8, and Memphis is a surprise team of everybody in the NBA, because it just proves how much a guy makes a difference. Mike Conley's completely healthy, and the Grizzlies have shown it. Jaren Jackson Jr. is growing into the top 5 pick that we expected him to be. Marc Gasol is quietly making his case for Defensive Player of the Year. They're getting contributions from a guy like Garrett Temple, among others. The Grizzlies are just winning games defensively, and Conley has been showing the fact that he's taking games over late. So that got them at 8. Portland's at 9. Portland's been, their backcourt is still good. Yusuf Nurkic has been playing solid. They're still getting some help on the wings, but in the Western Conference, it's hard to stand out because there are games you look good and there are games you look bad. And in the case of the Trailblazers, at this point, Portland, over the last 2 games have not been playing their best basketball, but they've lost 3 in a row. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. It's going to be up and down process because teams are going to shuffle themselves up and down the Western Conference standings all year. Because like I said, right behind them, I have the LA Lakers. The Lakers are a team that just lost to Orlando. They've lost Orlando twice in about a 10-day period. They lost Orlando twice. But then you have performances like the Lakers where they go out and beat a solid team. You know, the Lakers, other than the loss to Orlando on Sunday afternoon, they were winning. They had won 8 of their last 10, you know, and they've been really, really good. LeBron James, in addition to Tyson Chandler, the team has flipped defensively. They're guarding the paint better. They're still terrible defensively, but they've gotten better with Chandler in the paint. There were moments, especially on Sunday, where Kyle Kuzma should have had the ball more, especially after having a good start. Rounding out the top 10 is Lakers are at 10. Indiana's at 11. Quality win for them last night, beating Utah Jazz, by a very impressive margin. Doug McDermott was really, really good in the game last night, but the Pacers are still just getting Victor Oladipo back. Miles Turner was also injured. So the Pacers are like a lot of teams in the East. They still have a lot to get, to improve on to get better. And they're going to be one of those teams in the East. If they get to the second round, depending on the matchup, they can cause a lot of problems for either Boston or Toronto if Boston decides to get themselves together. Detroit's at 12. Detroit's been playing really good basketball, and now Reggie Jackson and Blake Griffin are starting to be on the same page. They had a very, very good game the other night together. And Andre Drummond is still grabbing rebounds at an insane rate. Griffin's playing maybe his best basketball of his career. He's starting to become much more of an all-around guy, more than just a scorer and a rebounder, but also a facilitator. He's hitting the mid-range shot. He's also running the pick and pop very well with Jackson. You know, Jackson's one of the best pick and roll players in the NBA anyway. When he's healthy on the floor. And Detroit's they still going to have to find that other guy on the wing to give the scoring. And Detroit's a streaky team. They've always been streaky the last couple of years, and they're continuing to be streaky. They won 2 in a row, 6 of their last 10. They still score a lot of points, but the one thing with Detroit is that they're starting to win on the road. As long as in the NBA, if you stay above 500 or better, you'll be a playoff team. And Detroit right now is 500 on the road, and they're 3-0 in the division this year. Going down the rankings, Houston's at 13. Yes, they lost last night, but Washington is starting to get it together. So I got them in front of Dallas. Dallas is, with the Luka Doncic effect. Doncic has been a really, really good rookie. Still has a little bit turnover prone, and they're doing it with Harrison Barnes just now getting himself back into the rotation. Don't know how this is going to last. Boston's at 15. Listen, they beat New Orleans last night, but Boston's been so up and down. Gordon Hayward has not back to being full strength. Boston might be one of those teams that might be a little bit too talented for their own good, but remember, this is November. They'll be in it by the time it's all said and done. And when it's all said and done, Boston's going to be right there with Toronto in the Eastern Conference. I'm not worried about that. Orlando's at 16. They're 10 and 11. Lost last night to Golden State. Aaron Gordon did get hurt in the game in the third quarter. Something you might want to look out for. They're in the middle of a West Coast trip. They have to come back from the West Coast trip playing well. Otherwise, they could be a team that could be free falling in the Eastern Conference. But you look at what they have done so far since the last power ranking I've done. It's the fact that they've beaten some really good teams. They've beaten the Lakers twice. They've beaten San Antonio. They've beaten Boston. They've won quality basketball games. The real question is, can they win on the road? This road trip will be somewhat of a key road trip. Remember, they lost to Denver. They beat the Lakers. They lost to Golden State. They still have 3 more games on the road trip. I think they have a date with Portland, which a game they have to win. I think they should win. I have to win. They need to beat Phoenix and they need to beat Miami before they head back home next week to take on Denver and Indiana. New Orleans is at 17, lost last night to the Celtics. Most people think that the Pelicans are one of those teams that's going to be fighting for the 8th spot, and they should be. Still need a little more help on the wing. You still have to give Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday a little bit more help, especially on the wings. And remember, this team is still missing Elfrid Payton from the lineup, and hopefully Payton will be back very, very soon. Hornets at 18. They were a little bit lower when I first did my poll, but after last night beating the Bucks, after losing to the Hawks on Sunday, it kind of negates the fact of they had a brain fart against Atlanta and did some really, really bad substitutions by James Borrego at the end of the game, especially even Dwayne Bacon on the floor to guard Kent Bazemore. Everybody knows Bazemore goes the direction he went and blew by Bacon in the game the other night. Kemba Walker didn't shoot the ball very well last night, but it was good to see the Hornets win without Kemba Walker having to score almost 40 points a single night. Sacramento Kings are at 19, the feel-good story of the entire NBA. You know, I don't know how long this is going to last, but the Kings are a very, very fun team to watch. De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield has been shooting out of his mind, looking like the Buddy Hield we saw in Oklahoma. Marvin Bagley is putting up double doubles now. Now, can we just get him in the starting lineup? Bojan Bogdanovic is starting to get healthy, and the emergence of Iman Shumpert. The Kings have been playing really, really good basketball with Dave Yeager. Hopefully, the early season turmoil they were having with Yeager in the front office, not seeing eye to eye, doesn't last much longer, because if it doesn't, the Kings could be one of those teams fighting, maybe up until February, March. We'll see how far this goes. But as of now, Kings fans enjoy, the excitement you're having, because you guys are well worth all the excitement. Spurs are at 20. Spurs are a team that have been up and down. You can tell they're missing a point guard. DeMar DeRozan is doing so much, especially now because he's become main facilitator. And, Pau Gasol is out. They're missing all their point guards. It seems like, and Patty Mills is the only one that's really on the roster right now. Brent Forbes is still going up and down. Rudy Gay, I think, missed a couple games during the last time, in between the last power ranking poll. But the Spurs should be there at the end, especially because the good news is that Lonnie Walker is on a G League assignment, which means he's starting to get himself back in basketball shape, which will add another guard to the rotation, which the Spurs desperately need right now. The Jazz are at 21 at 9-12. The Jazz are not healthy right now. Donovan Mitchell's been injured, and the Jazz, the trendy pick to be one of the top 4 teams in the Western Conference. Remember, the Jazz went on a tear last year in December, going in January, and they elevated themselves. The same thing Portland does every year. There's going to be a stretch of games where the Jazz become completely dominant, where Donovan Mitchell scores out of his mind. Rudy Gobert protects the rim at an insane rate. They'll get more from Derek Favors. They'll get more from Joe Ingles. Ricky Rubio has been solid. It's just that right now, when you don't have an all-star candidate in Donovan Mitchell on the floor, it does make a difference. The Minnesota Timberwolves are at 22. They've been playing really, really good basketball since the trade for Jimmy Butler. It's now getting the pieces now settled in. Karl Anthony Towns has become more aggressive. But can someone find Andrew Wiggins' jump shot, please? Andrew Wiggins is now the key to Minnesota making the playoffs. It's not Karl Anthony Towns, it's Andrew Wiggins. They've given them Covington on the wing to play the defender role that Jimmy Butler did. But can someone find Andrew Wiggins and his scoring ability? Because if he can't find it, Minnesota can't make the playoffs. It's just hands down that simple. Brooklyn's at 23, a team that was snake bitten because of the fact that they let the Sixers come back to them on Sunday. Spencer Dinwiddie is going to get paid somehow. D'Angelo Russell's been playing really good basketball. They miss Karis LeVert, and they have one of the more underrated guard groups in the league with, like I said, with Russell and Dinwiddie and Joe Harris. They have a really, really good group of guards. Very underrated, very good shooters, but the Nets are still missing that guy that's going to give you 25, 26 points tonight, because I don't know if Russell can do that on a consistent basis. But Spencer Dinwiddie is a guy who is an NBA League Pass follow on a nightly basis. Miami, I got them just ahead of Washington. They're really flopping back and forth. The crazy thing about about the Heat and the Wizards is that they're right behind the Charlotte Hornets. Like last night with the Wizards' victory, they're now 2 games out of the 6th spot in the East. For as bad as the Washington Wizards have been, and the Miami Heat have struggled due to injuries, both those teams are literally 2 and 2.5 games out of the 6th spot in the East. If you are Charlotte and Orlando, the way the Washington Wizards and Miami Heat are now playing, the Wizards now starting to get themselves together, even with the whole cloud of Dwight Howard over their head and the Brad Beal request as of yesterday that came out, and Beal vehemently shot down last night. The Heat are now not getting their guys back. If you are Charlotte and Orlando in this division, you're ahead of them right now. You might want to start loading up on wins before Miami and Washington catch you in the standings. The Knicks are the Knicks. The Bulls are the Bulls. You really can't go wrong with either one of those two teams there. Knicks are at 26, Bulls are at 27. Hey, the Cavs are up over last time. They were 30th in the first poll. They're 28th. When you get 2 victories in 3 games, especially beating the Philadelphia 76ers, hey, you move up in the power rankings a bit. You have the final 2 spots, the Phoenix Suns and the Atlanta Hawks are 30th in the league. Yes, they beat the Hornets the other night, but remember, it was a 10-game losing streak before that win against Charlotte. So I want you guys' opinions and thoughts on this. You can talk about a power ranking and talk about teams all day long. So I try not to go into a really, really superly long podcast to go over this, because it's a lot. It's 30 teams to go over, and so many different ways to break down each of the teams. But this is kind of a brief breakdown why I put the teams where they are. If you don't agree with me, please let me know. Follow me on Twitter at Danny, DANNY, the number 3, Thompson on Twitter. Follow the page and subscribe to it. That way you get all the emails, get all the podcasts, get everything sent to you at aroundtheassociation.com. Check out my work at Sixers Wire. Check out my work at Pro Player Insiders, Florida National News. Like I said, I want to know your opinions on the poll. Am I wrong? Am I right? Please let me know. We'll catch you guys later. Peace.